Baseball with the Bard.
Hello, everybody, and good Sunday morning to you. Welcome to episode 6 of Baseball with the Bard. 6 episodes already, Noah. Can you believe it?
It's exciting. I'm ready for 10 so I can do the thing, but we'll wait.
So, good morning again. I'm Tyler Bard, your host, and that is my best friend over there, Noah Cross, the magician, joining me this Sunday for another episode of Baseball with the Bard. So, let's get it kicked off how we always do, talking about how COVID is ruining baseball and all other sports right now. The Subway Series, the most looked forward to rivalry game besides maybe the Red Sox Yankees of the season, is canceled because of COVID. The Yankees, once again, have been slighted by COVID, not by them catching it, but by the team they're about to face being affected by it. I have a note here. It says the Yankees, the Mets flew home rather on Thursday night and are in New York. And the team said in a statement that the traveling party was tested at Citi Field on Friday morning before being sent home to quarantine. The team does not plan to work out at all this weekend or attend any of their games. So, Noah, we can't escape it. And
Yeah,
especially Yankees, huh?
it's crazy. This is what, the second series now? It's been derailed because of coronavirus that their opponent they were supposed to face. Obviously, you can't just let them play because it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
It stinks that it was postponed there. And also stinks, as we've been talking about so much, is that all these games have to be made up in order for the season to count. You can't just not play
Right.
them. So the Yankees are going to have a tough schedule there. They got to make up 3 games now again. So they're going to have a
Yep.
doubleheader probably somewhere. They're going to have a tight schedule, have to jump on an airplane quickly and to get somewhere else. So this is definitely going to affect the players and affect the team negatively and having to have a lot of strain on themselves and all around. But it's just, you don't like to see it. That's for sure.
I hate that it feels like for a little bit there, we were like, oh, shoot, everyone's back. We got baseball. We're going to play. And then all of a sudden, it just takes one. And we're back to square one where we have to adjust for what's going on with COVID. But otherwise, pretty quiet. Pretty quiet. COVID's been like, all right, baseball, I beat you up enough. But there is the note that Joe just passed down to us below here that says 36 games total have been postponed this season. 36, Noah. That is a ludicrous
Wild.
amount of numbers. Like, you'd expect that if it was like the beginning of May and there was a lot of rain. But this is because of a sickness, a virus. And we had never had to deal with something like this before. And it's just unfortunate to see these guys who have been waiting this whole off season to come
Absolutely.
in here and come into a great season. This was supposed to be a massive, massive year, especially with the tough off season, with the Astros scandal and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Dodgers and everyone being all up in arms. So let's just hope from here on out. I'm more optimistic that the season will continue at this point. There hasn't been any sign to say it's going to end. So Manfred has, at least if he's thinking it's going to end, he's kept that close to his chest. So he hasn't shown any signs of closing the season out. But yeah, let's get from one mellow topic to the next. Steven Strasburg is out for the season. Season-ending injury, or not injury, but ailment.
Mhm.
He's going in for a surgery on his hand because he has carpal tunnel. What a massive loss for the Curly W's over in Washington. I just don't know what they're gonna do without this guy. It just even though he's incredible, he is a presence as well, and a presence in the clubhouse could be a massive component to a team doing poorly. The article I wrote earlier this week about Kevin Pillar, he's saying the guys aren't having fun, they don't have a clubhouse mentality, and he blames that on a big reason to why the Sox are doing so poorly. I think this could be an effect on the Nationals. What do you think, man?
I'm going to have to disagree, only because going into the World Series last year when you had the Astros versus the Nationals, the one thing that I kept saying would give the Nationals a bit of an edge was their starting rotation. Not because everyone is an all-star ace, which they do have 2 of them, I would say, in the likes of Strasburg and the likes of the man on your screen there. But the biggest thing I'm saying is They have depth in their starting rotation. They have enough
Yeah.
people that can just pick it up and just keep on moving. You have Patrick Corbin, you have Anibal Sanchez, who are able to go and give you depth, give you innings. They're good pitchers. You have Max Scherzer there. So it's not a thing that I think is going to derail them to the point where it's going to throw them off for the rest of the season. I think they're going to be able to sustain the momentum that they have that was started at the beginning of the season and just keep moving forward. Because again, they have depth in their starting rotation. They have had four solid, now three solid starting pitchers. I mean, you look at a team like the Yankees, who barely functioned last season, and they had two starters, sometimes just one actual starter in the rotation there for a solid portion of the time, and they were still able to win as many games as they did, just using bullpen and things like that. So I think the depth of their pitching rotation is going to be a major benefit to them. They stack themselves to succeed in that, and it's going to save them here, if you ask me.
All right, yeah, that's a good take. They're an incredible team. I mean, they won the World Series last year, so they should be able to come out and overcome this massive hurdle. But Strasburg, man, he's just a different beast. But you could say that about the Red Sox in 2018 when Chris Sale went down. Everyone's like, that's it. They're not going to make it, and they managed to pull it out. And they're an incredibly fun team. They have so much fun playing the game. So I personally hope they do really well. I'd like to see them have a great postseason run again. So Strasburg, best of luck to you. Hope you heal up well, and we'll see you next season. Good luck to you. So let's get on to a more fun topic here. Should players abide by the unwritten rules of baseball? Yes or no, Noah?
Oh, okay. I know what your take is on this. I, for one, I'm in a bit of a mixed match here. I think there's a couple of them that are like, meh, all right. However, the one we are going to discuss today, I would have to say, stop it. No.
Yeah, so
Fernando,
for those who don't know, Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a grand slam in the late inning games. I believe it was Monday night's game when his team was leading by 7 on a 3-0 count in the 8th inning. Yeah, it's not usually a great look. But listen, this kid is incredible. He has been on an absolute tear. The Padres are, I believe the stat was, the first team in Major League history to hit 5 grand slams in a week. So they are absolutely killing it right now. I believe that the unwritten rules of baseball are bogus. Absolutely bogus. And Joe, if you're around, I'd like you to jump in and join us for this one. I think these unwritten rules are insane. And Noah and I agree on some of them. I'm curious to see what your take is on it.
Well, here's my thought, and I think in some cases they make sense. In other cases, it's a judgment call because you're talking about a rule that doesn't have any sort of punishment if you do violate it, right? So you're supposed to take a 3-0 pitch fastball down the middle, and now the count is 3-1. Now, statistically speaking, that every time you get another strike in the count, your batting average goes down.
Right.
And now it's 3-1. Now, what if you, sir, don't follow the unwritten rules of baseball and say you throw a curveball in this here 3-1 fastball bases loaded count? And you throw a nice hook. Now it's a full count. So no, I've just basically handed this at bat over to you, and you didn't even give me the courtesy of a 3-1 fastball. So, which of these unwritten rules do you enforce? What's the penalty? I thought it was disgusting, too, that Texas would throw at Manny Machado, and I hate Manny Machado, and I am generally in favor of people throwing at Manny Machado. He did not deserve that. This is the one time I will stand up for Manny. As far as the stealing of a base, by the way, stealing third base, in the next game that Tatis did, while they were up by 7 runs, that's probably not as cool.
But hilarious, though, because...
listen, he's got great energy. I would like to just point out to you guys that Reggie Jackson, of all people, and I know a lot of people were like, oh, what did Reggie have to say? Well, you'll be shocked. He said, Fernando Tatis, keep playing hard and playing great. It's a pleasure to watch you play. Love your success, and the Padres rise to be a winner. Keep leading the way. It isn't easy to hit homers. Keep bringing energy after the game. We need players like you, an all-star. And
No
how
shot
about
he
this
would
one?
believe that.
Go ahead, Noah. Why don't you take Trevor Bauer, the lunatic of
no,
baseball?
that's your guy.
I love Trevor Bauer. He was the best. Hey, Tachi Shimmy, listen up. Keep swinging 3-0 if you want to, no matter what the game situation is. 2, keep hitting homers no matter what the situation is. 3, keep bringing energy and flash to baseball and making it fun. And 4, the only thing you do wrong was apologize. Stop that. And I am a huge fan of Trevor Bauer. Go buy stuff from Bauer Outage. It's the best. He trolls the Astros like it's nobody's business.
We have plenty of shirts
Plenty
from
of
him.
Bauer shirts. And I agree. I couldn't agree more with Trevor Bauer here. Just to keep playing, keep bringing energy. Listen, are we going to let the kids play or are we not? Like, which one are we going to do?
It's
we have
literally the
let
motto
kids
of
play
last
movement.
season.
Exactly. But now we're throwing at opposing players because someone decided to play baseball. His job is to hit home runs. His job is to put the ball all over the field. He's just doing that. If you don't like it, pitch better. Put better guys on the mound. I don't have anything for you.
Cam Newton put it
it.
best. Cam Newton said that in the NFL because every time Cam scored a touchdown, he does the Superman celebration where he pretends to rip his jersey open. And people used to get so upset about that. And he says, if you don't like it, do something about it to stop me. Don't throw a ball at my head. Are you insane? That's insane. You're a crybaby and a child like Madison Bumgarner of Giants. Or is he on the Giants still? Or is he?
No, he's on the Diamondbacks.
Finally, they got Diamondbacks. They finally dispensed of his crybaby whining attitude when people hit home runs off of him and marvel at them because they hit the cove. I can't stand that. And it seems that this old baseball mentality comes from pitchers and almost always pitchers.
I'll just point out, too, by the way, this is what Fernando Tatis looks like. And
look at that hair.
If you don't think that the blonde hair dreads and the fact that he's a Latino ball player doesn't have something to do with people being pissed off about him, not following. This is a kid who spent his whole life, by the way, in a baseball clubhouse. His dad was a pretty good player himself. So I think he knows the unwritten rules of baseball, and I'm sure his dad, like him, thinks that they're cute, but that you don't have to follow them. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm with you, Joe. We don't have to follow these rules. Be respectful, yes. But if you got a chance to hit a grand slam, you better be hitting it. Or I'll bench you. I'll bench you if you ain't swinging.
You gotta play. I mean, plain and simple. And the biggest thing is, I forget whose clip this was, but the way they put it was like, oh, so they're going to this unwritten rule that he has to take this pitch, right? Because he's 3-0. All right, the other team isn't going to try and win the game now, right? For the rest of the game, like they're just going to sit back and just swing at everything or just take every single strike because the unwritten rule says that they're not supposed to try and extend their lead anymore. So therefore, the Rangers were just going to stop and sit back. No, they were going to try and win the game. They weren't going to just sit there and let the Padres take it. So are you like, what do you want them to do? Lose? Like, who's to say the Rangers weren't going to come back in the 9th inning and somehow win that game by miracle? Because it's happened. It ain't over till it's over. It ain't over till it's over. So you got to just play the game.
This ain't the Little League, boys. Take your diapers off. Time to put your big boy pants on. And it's time to play the game. If you lose, cry about it. That's the best.
On that note, I've seen the Yankees come back a couple years ago against the Red Sox. They were 9-0. And I was at a game in 2005 where the Yankees, Randy Johnson started, gave up back-to-back home runs in the 3rd inning. The Yankees were down 10-2 in the 5th. They came back and they won the game 20-11. It was the greatest comeback, the greatest margin of victory in a comeback from the largest deficit in Major League Baseball history. The stadium was almost empty when people left. They were booing Randy Johnson. I was screaming at them for booing Randy Johnson because you don't boo Hall of Famers, of course. You never know what's going to happen to baseball, but if everyone just follows the unwritten rules, first of all, the game's a lot less entertaining, and B, I feel like there's, like Noah said, kind of some quit in the game, where if I'm down 8 and I'm just taking 3-0 pitches, I'm first pitch swinging just to get the game over with. Are you trying? It would be a team like the Texas Rangers, which is just a historically crappy franchise, that would be the attitude that they would take. That doesn't surprise me.
You're right. It makes sense. It makes sense that the ones who are salty are the Texas Rangers. I'm not surprised. But yeah, that's our take. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments. And on our page, we're going to keep talking about this all season, I'm sure, because I'm sure it is not over yet. Tatis got all the gasoline for the rest of this ride that he needs from Trevor Bauer and Legends to keep showing off. Let's just hope he doesn't become a Puig where he shows off too much.
I don't think so.
Just a nice touch where you watch a home run once in a while and you trot a little slow.
Here's why Tatis isn't going to become a Puig, because Tatis just hits the ball. He hit the home run, and that was it. Like, he literally said nothing. He hit the home run. He ran the bases. Sure, he might have leaned back a little bit and watched it sail. If you hit a home run like that, you should watch it sail, because that's just impressive. He didn't take his helmet off. He didn't pump a flex. He didn't jump around. He hit the ball. He ran around the bases, and he went back to the dugout. Like, he played the game. So what else do you want him to do? That's why he's not going to become the Puig. He's humble. He just hits the ball. He runs the bases. He sits down, and let's call it a day. Like, that's it. The only thing you could do to combat that is to strike him out. Done.
Yeah, do something about it.
Strike him out. Like, that's it. So
we're calling you out, pitchers. Do something about it.
Strike out Tatis. I dare you. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, right. I love it. Something I don't love. 16 starting pitchers on the IL right now, Noah. 16 with non-COVID related injuries.
For sure. The 16 there, it's a lot. And I think the biggest thing is actually, Joe, thank you so much for joining us for that talk there, my friend.
My pleasure. Always glad to jump on with you guys.
Absolutely,
appreciate it.
Loving the show.
We'll have a good one, buddy. 16 pitchers here. It's insane. There's a lot of factors that are going into this very odd season. So in looking at all of these starting arms, as we know, being a starting pitcher puts a lot of strain on your body. It puts a lot of strain on your arm, your shoulder, your elbow, all nine. You see Tommy John surgeries popping up like crazy all over the place. And now with this reboot of the season, starting pitchers had to a couple months ago get started. They had their original spring training, and then they had to just cold turkey, just boom, done.
Yeah.
Completely stopped working out every day with their regular regimens. A lot of them are trying to throw in their hotel rooms or throw at home or something like that. It's not the same when you're a Major League Baseball player. You're throwing 100 miles an hour and you're putting that much strain on your arm to just stop and then literally a couple months later say you have to get ready in 2 weeks. And that's exactly what happened to a lot of these starting pitchers. And now we have guys, the list here is insane too. We have Verlander, Strasburg, Kluber, Stroman, Charlie Morton, and Kirby Yates, as we discussed last week. All of these guys now are on the injured list. And why do you think, Tyler, is the biggest reason to blame for this surge in the starting rotations all across the league having all these injuries?
Yeah, I saw you put that question in the script, and it's such a great question because I don't think there is one reason as to why, but if I had to pinpoint it, I think it's got to be the fact that they just weren't ready to start the season. No one was warm enough, and they're still coming out and pitching these incredible speeds, trying to switch it up, throwing these different velocities for their different pitches, and they're just going too hard and hurting themselves. It could just be a coincidence that these guys are all just rusted from not being able to start early, and they're just getting hurt from throwing too hard. It could be a plethora of things, but I think you hit it on the head there. It's just they started and then stopped and then started again, and that stop caused their muscles to not be as loose as they would have been going into a regular season. So I guess easy explanation is COVID. COVID is the reason, even though they don't have COVID.
Yeah, that's for sure. And my biggest thing is at what point this was a shower thought, by the way, if anyone was wondering. I mean, everyone knows you get the best ideas in the shower. Noah's shower thought section of the show here.
Hashtag Noah's shower.
Is that at what point does it become risk over reward? At what point is the risk higher than just saying, you know what, we have to just stop? Because we're literally our players are falling apart. Not only, like, obviously they had a crazy start, right? They had to start, stop, and then start again and get hot quick. And now their schedules are absolutely insane. Like, it's not a regular baseball schedule. And then you look at all these teams, for example, like the Yankees with James Paxton, the guy can't stay healthy. I mean, he's got the forearm issue going on now too. But if you're looking at a guy like him and the schedule is supposed to be so tight, the Yankees have to play all these double headers. They're going to be calling on their starting pitchers to try and get as many innings as possible. Like, you have a guy like Garrett Cole going out there, you want him to finish the game because you know you're going to have to play another game at 3:00 or, later on that day. And you don't want to kill your bullpen because who knows if you're going to need him. So it's one of those things where at what point is the risk just not worth it? Because we're just seeing our players literally get beaten up so much and they're literally falling apart. Like, they're dropping like flies at this point. because their bodies just can't handle the strain that is being put on them by this not only new season, but this accelerated season, and us having to make up all these games and do all these things and jump through all these hoops. So,
right. And I was curious to see if all these injuries would affect these teams, because obviously they will with win-loss ratio. And that is important because the playoffs are kind of right around the corner. We're about halfway through this season, which is wild.
yeah.
And if the playoffs were to start today, a lot of these players won't be playing because their teams are in the postseason. And I think we have a graphic of whether the players were going to, I'm sorry, not players, if the playoffs were going to start today. So World Series 2020, we're looking at the Yankees, the White Sox, Tampa Bay, Cleveland, Oakland Athletics, Baltimore Orioles, the Twins, and Houston rounding it out for the American League. And then on the National League, it's San Diego, LA, the Marlins, the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, the Cubs, the Milwaukee Brewers, and the Atlanta Braves. All of those teams, except maybe the Marlins, could I see winning a 7-game series against another opponent. The Marlins just are there because they've played less games and came back on a little bit of a hot streak. I don't expect to see them in the playoffs. Everyone else on there, minus maybe the Orioles, have a good chance. No, Ov, if you don't get out of my chat with that nonsense. Ov, for those who can't see and are just listening on Spotify or wherever you find your podcast, the host of the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show, Ovi Muniz, just posted that Houston is going to win the World Series out of spite. Spite of what, Ovi? They don't have anything to be spiteful for. They are guilty, and I hope they don't win another game for the rest of the season. Actually, I wouldn't mind to see Oakland win the World Series this year.
Stop it.
Maybe see like an Oakland versus the Dodgers.
No.
Anything that's not the Yankees would
Tyler,
be fine with them.
Tyler,
yes?
Stop it with this Oakland actually getting past like a wild card. Listen, stop it. Not a chance. I that was, you know what? 2 shower thoughts in one show. You're getting a double daily double here.
Hashtag Noah's.
Thank you. Tyler is delusional is right. The Athletics will not make it.
We're going to come back to this episode in the week we're covering the World Series, and I'm going to play this clip.
We won't. We won't be coming. No, absolutely not. Anyway, let's look at the thank you. Let's
looking at the standings. Tampa Bay has taken the lead because they swept the Yankees. What a brutal sweep. But we all knew Tampa was going to do well, and God, I'm so happy because the prediction king keeps being king, and I'm at the top where I belong. Tampa Bay is the top dog right now.
We'll get to the Yankees segment in a little while, and I'll dive into that.
Yeah, so we're happy to see it. Tampa Bay at the top. What's this? Minnesota at the top of the Central, and Oakland at the top of the West.
You said we're happy to see it. Tampa Bay at the top. What's this we?
We as in me.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only we.
Listen, you and Joe, as the Yankee fans, can sit in second place and hope for a wild card spot.
Excuse me. You mean
listen,
9 and 19?
Listen.
9 and 19.
We'll get to it.
I will say, I love how Joe just keeps slapping graphics up there. Like Red Sox are in last place.
We don't have to talk about the Red Sox. Well, I guess we do because the Red Sox are the next segment. So getting into the Red Sox.
Well, let's look at the National League first. We're gonna look at National League real quick in the standings.
Okay, yeah. I'm sure Joe has his stat pulled up. Atlanta leads the East, going 16-11 right now, with Chicago. I think that's Chicago. Yeah, I can't. Sorry, I have my vision is poor right now. Chicago is also 16-10, and the West is led by the Dodgers, who are 21-8.
Look at the Dodgers, dude. Look at the Dodgers.
They're looking dang good.
This is off script, but I'm just gonna. I want to hype someone on the Dodgers for a minute for good reason. Walker Buehler is a stud of a pitcher.
Yeah.
He's still in arbitration, which I don't know if a lot of people still know that. He's still in arbitration right now. He doesn't even have like a full contract. He's like a Josh Hader story, if you ask me. A guy who's just incredible, could have a big contract, but is still in arbitration years. If you ask me, Walker Buehler is going to be a hot ticket item once he's able to become a free agent and actually sign a big contract. I think he's the next stud in the likes of pitching. Like I think he's going to be Verlander level of a starting pitcher. I don't know what it is. I just love Walker Buehler. He has great stuff. Remember his game last season when the Dodgers got eliminated. He started that game against the Nationals and kept them in it until the bullpen and Clayton Kershaw blew it. But Walker Buehler, he put his heart out there, and he was in tears after that game, I remember. Because, I mean, he knew if you're a guy like that, you go out there and you give everything you have to give your team a chance to advance to the championship round, and you get eliminated
brutal
after your bullpen blows it, and they put in a starting pitcher that had no right being in that spot. That's just nuts. What are we sleeping
We're
on?
not sleeping on Toronto. Toronto's just not at the top right now, so they're not worth talking about. When they start showing up and beating Tampa and the Yankees, we'll talk, Steve.
Also, you mean the Buffalo Blue Jays? They're playing in Buffalo.
Yeah, right.
They're not the Toronto Blue Jays this year. They're the Buffalo.
Yeah,
Blue Jays.
I thought you were a fan. You should know that, Steve. But let's move on to the least satisfying part. But the Red Sox actually. This is one of the better weeks they've had in this season. They went 3-4 on the week. It's still a losing record. But hey, listen, they did it. The Sox were on a 3-game win streak, and they honestly, they should have won last night. The Red Sox should have won, and the bullpen blew it in the 8th inning and in the 10th inning. The Red Sox retook the lead both times, and the bullpen just could not hold the lead. The Orioles tagged the Boston bullpen and the Sox 3-game win streak with a 5-4 victory last night, making the Red Sox finish with a 3-4 record this week. Which, hey, 3 wins! All right,
big.
Let's go. And we almost hit double digits on wins. How about that?
Maybe them like the Athletics will make it to the playoffs or something. Maybe make it past round one.
Listen, anything's possible in a 60-game season, Noah. You're going to be laughing when the Yankees are in last at the end of the season.
Yeah. All right.
Can you put that Tyler's delusional thing up at the bottom again, please? But as good as this week looked going in, we could have almost finished over 500. The Red Sox made a big move. They traded relievers Brandon Workman and Heath Hembree to the Phillies for starting pitchers Nick Pivetta and Connor Siebold. Did not see that coming. Heath Hembree, as much as I love to make fun of him for how bad he used to be, massive staple in the Boston bullpen. And Brandon Workman, wow, he's been incredible in his career with Boston. So it was weird to see these two go. But I'm glad that, like I always am, I'm a Patriots fan. When I see players go, they always go to a good team. So I'm happy that they are going to go. No, I'm not surprised they had a winning streak, Ovi. They did very well. And I think it's going to be a good move for the Red Sox in the long run. So I have some stats here I want to read to you, Noah. And then let me know if you think this will ultimately help the Red Sox in the long run here. So the 27-year-old Pivetta, who was under team control through 2023, went 19-30 with a 5.5 ERA. And a 1.43 whip in 92 outings, 71 starts for Philadelphia from 2017 to 2020. He has allowed 10 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings in 3 relief outings this summer. Not great. Not a great start for him. So hopefully we can see him do something a little bit better when he comes onto the Sox. Then there's the 24-year-old Siebold. He's 11-10 with a 3.52 ERA and 40 outings and 34 starts during his minor league career. Philadelphia drafted him in the 3rd round in 2017 out of California State Fullerton. He went 3-1 with a 2.25 ERA and 2.40 batting average against in 7 starts at the AA level last year, and he began that season on the injured list with a strained oblique. So looking okay. I like those stats a little bit better than the ones from Mr. Pivetta. So Siebold looking a little bit better. Do you think this is going to help the Red Sox or hurt them that they lost 2 of their best bullpen pitchers?
Here's the thing. I don't think it's going to hurt the Red Sox because the Red Sox were in a tough spot with starting pitching is what we've been talking about this season so far. If you would ask me, that's the biggest reason they've been struggling so much is because they don't have inning eaters, period. They don't. And then their bullpen gets overtaxed, and they end up giving up runs late in games, which cost you the game. You can't do that. Yes, I would say that the Phillies made out in getting better all around pitchers. However, I would say the Red Sox definitely benefited because if anything else, leaving all these stats aside, they have starting pitchers who can now simply eat innings. Listen, you got to finish the season. You got to just go. At this point, I would say the Red Sox are more in damage control than anything else. But this is a move that had to happen because they had to help out their starting rotation there to keep that pace moving. So when it comes to the Red Sox or Phillies benefiting, yes, the Phillies again got better overall pitchers. I would have to say that the Red Sox, however, are going to get that assistance in that starting rotation that they desperately needed to be able to carry through and to continue moving there with the progression of this series. So I would say the Red Sox definitely made a smart move on their part. Whether it pays out or not, or whether it helps them out in the long run, I honestly don't think it matters that much. Because at this point, they're literally just preserving their club and making sure they can keep moving forward because you have to have people who eat innings, plain and simple. You can't be pulling
This kind of felt like a flop, did it not? Like it wasn't either way. It wasn't one way or another.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't think anyone made a huge benefit. I think both teams just kind of tried to, I wouldn't even say improve, but simply manage their weak areas. And the Red Sox were starting and the Phillies was in their bullpen. They just had to do that, and that's what they did.
I think it was a better move on the Red Sox part. The Phillies were already good. They did add two great arms to their bullpen. But the Red Sox needed starting pitching, so I think it was a great move on their part. We'll see if it works out. As much as I hate to say there's no hope for this season, it is a rebuild. It's definitely time to get the team moving in a new direction. So I'm okay with how this worked out personally. I just hope that it can continue that way. So signs are bleak, but the true Red Sox fan in me is saying that we cannot lose hope just yet. And I would like to talk about
lose hope.
If we could talk about the defense of the Red Sox. Uh-oh, did I lose connection here?
No, I still have you, Tyler. Oh, never mind. I think what we were going to jump into is the defense of the Red Sox there. And as you hear many a times, defense wins a game, which is a very true statement. When you're a defending player, you have to make sure that your team can stay in it. And defense is what's going to do that. You can't rely on your pitchers to get strikeouts all the time. You have to be able to have that defense in the stands there. So if you see there, you got Pilar out there making a beautiful diving catch out in the outfield. As Tyler has said many a times, he believes the Red Sox have, if not the best, one of the best outfields in the game with the likes of Pilar. You have Andrew Benintendi out there. And you have, what's his name there? My good friend Jackie Bradley Jr. out there in center a lot. And those are three solid defenders, as you always say, if not the best, one of the best out there in the outfield. So, yeah.
No, I agree. Kevin Pilar and our defense could win it by themselves. And I apologize for cutting in and out here. My Wi-Fi is acting up a little bit. So hopefully I can get that under wraps here. But, yes, you're right. I do say the Red Sox defense alone could win a World Series. We just need a little bit more offense, my boys, and a little bit more pitching, and we'll be good to go. So with that, let's move over to a segment that will maybe surprise everyone. Didn't go the Yankees' favor this week. You want to give us a little quick summary on the Yankees to start this off?
Yeah, and you see the headline there. It's plain and simple. You can't get any more simple than that. The Yankees continue to struggle against the Rays.
They have your number.
They do. I don't know what it is. I have a couple theories, and I hope you do as well, as I'll ask you when we get down the line here. First off, though, to start this segment, the Yankees are still being plagued by that injury bug in a very, very big way. It's insane at this point. This season so far, there's been 7 players that have headed to the IL for the Yankees. And as we said, we're only halfway through. And this week was a very tough one as we had Zach Britton go down, who is a solid bullpen arm. We had Gleyber Torres go down. As we know, Gleyber frickin' Torres is a fiend out there on the field. And James Paxton.
Good Gleyber.
Yes, like a good Glaber. Torres is there. And then we had Paxton go down, who, as we saw last season, had an incredible 10-game skid in being able to put together a lot of wins. But as you see the list of injuries there, Aaron Judge with a calf injury, Giancarlo Stanton hamstring, LeMahieu with a thumb, Britton hamstring, Tommy Kahnle is out for the rest of the season with Tommy John, and who knows how much next season. Glaber with the hamstring, and Paxton needs an MRI on his elbow to see what's going on there. Thankfully, I did hear that Paxton is they think Paxton is clear of Tommy John surgery, which definitely is a big relief. I just hope he can get back to true form because, as we've seen this season, he hasn't been able to visit his great production that he had last season. Glaber could be out for a few weeks. Paxton will be out for a few weeks, and they think Britton will be out for a week or two with that hamstring injury. I literally put in the script here, Tyler, as you saw, what the hell is going on? As we know, the Yankees retrofitted their entire training staff after last season's debacle when it came with all of the injuries that were plaguing the Yankees. My biggest thing is what is actually going on? Did we solve any of the issues the Yankees were having with all of those injuries from last season? As we can see this season, I don't think so. From what it looks like to me, the Yankees haven't really been able to move forward and to progress in keeping the injuries down. We have 7, and all of those injuries, what I would say, are fairly similar. You had a few hamstring issues, a few elbow issues, up and down. I would say the thumb thing with LeMahieu, that was a freak thing because he had a prior injury. But when it comes to all of the injuries that keep accumulating, what is going on? Did we fix anything?
You know what, Noah? If it were any other team, I'd be concerned for that team. The Yankees have personified the notion of next man up. And they have absolutely secured their bench and minor league system to make it so that they are always ready for an injury. They always have someone to come in with what used to be the likes of Gio Urshela, who's now earned a position, Kyle Higashioka. There's always someone ready and sitting in the wings to come in and be productive for the Yankees. So, yes, injuries, do they suck? Yeah, I want to go to the ballpark and see those guys. Those are the guys I want to see. But Yankees, they can get through it. And I don't think you guys should be hanging your heads just yet.
As much as I do agree, because last season, if you look, they still won 108 games with their AAA team going out there for a majority of that season, okay? The biggest thing that I think derails any team when they have a lot of injuries is the Yankees were not able to hit a stride last season that was able to be sustained through the playoffs. The Yankees got all of their big names back for the playoffs, but they came back for, 2 weeks, and now they're just expected to kind of just kick off where they left off before. It's not going to happen. And that's just not how, to me, that's not how baseball players are built. So in the long run for the entire season, yes, the Yankees will be fine with their next man up mentality. But as we saw last season, all those guys are just going to disappear. We're going to bring back everyone else who were somewhat cold and just expect them to be able to just jump into the playoffs and play the best version of baseball that they've been playing the whole season when it's not the same people.
That's unrealistic, obviously. But as I said a few minutes ago, if there is a team that can do it, the Yankees are going to be the ones to do it. So don't hang your head yet, Mr. Cross.
I'm not hanging my head at all. I'm not hanging my head at all.
But where you could hang your head is that you were able to sweep the Red Sox, but not the Reds.
Yeah, the Yankees were able to sweep the Red Sox in a big way. That was a great series to watch if you're a Yankees fan, obviously. The Red Sox, as we talked about before, weren't able to get a whole lot going, which obviously helped the Yankees' record there. However, the pesky Rays, as a lot of people refer to them, have no chill. They will keep on pushing. They keep on moving forward.
Yeah.
And the Yankees continue to struggle against the Rays in the worst way, getting swept 3 games in a row by them. In Game 1, Tanaka couldn't make it out of the 4th inning. In the first game of the series, he gave up 5 earned runs and posted an ERA of 4.60. Absolutely ridiculous. However, Sanchez and Voit, as Luke Voit we'll talk about in a little while, were able to pop a few home runs there. Voit with a 2-run shot, Sanchez with a solo shot. Being the true Yankees, relying on that home run ball. However, they couldn't really get any more offense mustered up there after Tanaka gave up that lead early on with those 5 runs. It was very hard to come back from, and a solo shot ain't going to do it, and it didn't do it. Game 2 looked promising with Garrett Cole on the mound, our ace. We were hopeful. I'm always hopeful when I see Garrett Cole. I'm like, oh, thank God Cole has the start today. It should be a good game. We should get a good win. He only allowed 2 earned runs and racked up 10 strikeouts, which is impressive for any pitcher. But the Yankees could not get runs across the plate. As you saw, Luke Voit again in this game coming through, and Gio Urshela were the only ones to drive in runs in this game. The Yankees lost that one to the Rays because they simply couldn't keep themselves in the game offensively. Garrett Cole did his job. He kept his team in the game, and the Yankees could not keep it together. And you have, as you see there, Ji-Man Choi is a monster. And I've said this to Tyler before. He is a scary hitter.
I love him, man. I
love Ji-Man Choi. He's fun. I love watching him play. He's a great player. He is a scary hitter. I don't care who you are as a pitcher. I mean, in this game, we took Garrett Cole deep. He can turn and burn like a lefty, as we hear all the time, like it's nobody's business. It doesn't matter if he's playing at the Short Porch Yankee Stadium or here in the Dome in Tampa Bay. Ji-Man Choi can rip a line drive or rip a home run off of anybody, and he did exactly that. Scary, scary hitter that you don't want to have to face in a big moment. And then game 3 there, we had James Paxton. Didn't do too bad there. He still hasn't found his stride that he had last season in the last 10 games. He gave up 3 runs in 5 innings of work, and he had 8 strikeouts, which, again, is not too bad. However, in rare form, the bullpen fell apart in game 3 there. They allowed 7 earned runs. Not a great day for pitching on the Yankees side. The Yankees had 10 hits to the Rays 8, but ended up losing that game 10-5. The Yankees just simply couldn't capitalize with runners in scoring position. I think they left a total of 7 to 10 players on base. So, and that image right there is actually where Britton injured himself with that hamstring injury. The second I saw him start limping, my heart just dropped. And I was like, here we go. Here we go again.
You just know sometimes.
Yeah, it was the worst. But after that.
You know what? Although they've been doing poorly, Noah, for the last 3 games, it's nice to see some players, it's not affecting them. Like Luke Voit. Yes. Luke Voit has had an absolute week. He had a streak of 4 home runs not 4 home runs in a row, 4 games in a row with a home run.
Some of which
we've been to Yankee Stadium. The atmosphere for Luke Voit is real.
Oh, absolutely.
People love that guy.
Absolutely. You get the Luke chants going.
Yeah.
If you're not a Yankees. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Yankee Stadium can't get enough of Luke Voit, and he is showing true Yankee form here, surging, as I like to call it. 10 home runs, as you see there in that 70 at-bats. Absolutely insane. His ratio of home run and every 7 at-bats leads the major league, so he is definitely a New York Yankee Bronx Bomber, to say the least. An average of 311 and an OPS of over 1,000. Absolutely killing it there. So it's good to see Luke Voit being able to have.
For some of you audio listeners, for some of the audio listeners who may not know exactly who Luke Voit is, the guy is built like an absolute tank.
Oh, absolutely.
He is a unit who you just see him and you're like, that guy can hit. And you assume he's either a first baseman or a catcher just off of how the dude is built. And wow, he can absolutely rake. I remember when he came up last year.
2 years.
Was it last year or 2 years ago now? But I just remember because he had a shortened season because he joined the season so late, and he hit so many home runs right off the bat. That was the season where the Yankees had about 7 or 8 players in double-digit home runs. And he was one of them after joining the Yankees very late in the season. So I'm very excited to see what the future holds for Luke Voit.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. And we keep going back to it stinks that a guy like Luke Voit, it stinks for him because he finally found this huge stride. If you have a haircut like that, you're going to hit a lot of baseballs. He found this huge stride. He's finally starting to surge, and then they have to sit on the bench for 4 days.
Right.
You know, so he's finally getting hot. He's finally finding his swing, and now he has to literally wait for the next series. And the Yankees had 4 days off because of the canceled Subway Series or postponed Subway Series. The next game isn't until Tuesday, the 25th at 7:10, and we have Tanaka starting that game for us. So we'll see how that one goes. I hope Luke Voit can keep the heat that he's been bringing over this last week here.
I mean, it would be good for the Yankees if he could, because you need some sort of consistency with your team going down with injuries. And let's hope for the Yankees' sake, Luke Voit can be that guy.
Absolutely.
But that's about all we have right now for the Red Sox and Yankees. We appreciate everybody tuning in to Baseball with the Bard, episode number 6. If you love podcasts, come visit us at clovercrestmedia.com for a wide selection of great shows covering sports, business, relationships, pop culture, politics, and even true crime. There's 26 shows on the CMG network right now, and if you don't find one that you like, why not start one yourself like Noah and I did? We can help you launch your podcast for as little as $15 a month, and clovercrestmedia.com is the name of the website. Make sure you check it out and tell your friends about it. You can visit clovercrestmedia.com and click the link for the latest on your favorite CMG podcast, as well as the sports podcast and blogs with video and all of the latest info. For one last time, this is Tyler Bard and Noah Cross for Baseball with a Bard. Thank you all for tuning in.
It's time for Baseball with the Bard.